Okay. All right. While we wait for other people, let's see if we can go with tradition and share our lessons, insight, and realization for material that we learned from last week. Do you remember anything? Last week we talked about simplicity, part of simplicity and joy, part of the materialization of wisdom. Do you remember anything, Ron, from last week's sharing? Lesson, insight, and realization. Okay. Lessons. Let's put some S in there. The eyes nice and pretty.
Yeah,
Lessons.
I've been listening to a lot of different lessons lately, and I remember.
Fine. Okay. Share anything that you have been.
Yeah,
that
the
have
one
been
with
Mm-hmm.
the one with the boat, and also the bringing in the light,
Okay.
bringing in the light where you can, if you're bringing in all the positives, you can your boat will flow in a direction that's easier to follow or easy to go with.
Great. So that was from last couple of days ago, right?
That was with
Sunday.
Ann Chang, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that one, and yeah, that one really. I try using that now too in my own life, like trying to bring the
Mhm.
positive rather than listen to somebody bring in negative news. I kind of don't answer it. I just
Okay. Yeah.
I don't I analyze it, but I won't respond to it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well,
So
it's all
yeah,
part of wisdom, and we're still. I think we will finally get to wrap up on the materialization of wisdom today.
yes,
Yeah, and um, that's great. That's great.
yeah, yeah. I'm starting to really absorb a lot more of it now too. Like going over it and over it really helps me.
That's the
And
idea. Yeah.
I was I've also been accepted into WIT 7. I got my all my paperwork now, so I just sending that off.
Okay.
So I'm quite happy about that.
Okay. I will do my best to support you in
Thank
your
you.
journey with the English language.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I have so much gratitude for you too, giving me all these lessons over the years. Helped me with a lot of other things too to get accepted. I already
Okay.
knew a lot of knowledge, a lot of the questions that they asked and things like that. It's pretty easy for me.
Okay. Yeah. Pretty simple. Yeah.
Yeah.
And time seems to have flown, right? I,
Yes.
I I can't believe that we have spent a year or so
Yes.
together.
It's pretty much a year now. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. We're in season 3 of my sharing, and since each season is about 20 or 20 something episode,
Yeah.
that's 20 something weeks, and we're in season
Yes.
3. That's like 70 something weeks, well, over a year. I can't believe it.
Also a couple of 24-hour sharings. That was good.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Uh,
which, um, not this weekend, but next weekend, are you and Hua interested in doing
uh,
another long sharing?
yeah, we were just talking about that. Yes. I think we will be interested. Well, I know we will be interested for sure.
So we'll start with Friday night. Just go, just do a few hours on Friday night.
Yeah.
We'll do as much as we can on Saturday and as much as we can on
I
Sunday.
think I think the Saturday we may have an obligation. We might have to go out for dinner, but
That's fine. That's
I'll
fine.
be listening.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. with the sharing over the next weekend, I'm going to try to focus a little bit more some of the formulas, some of the keys. Obviously, we already have principles and laws, but if we can bring out some of the formula that we can use, to get the kind of life we want. If we can present some keys that we can hold on to the keys to unlock different things in life, and that'll be helpful. So that's my intention, is to bring some of that stuff. Still trying to expand our awareness and perception. Okay, instead of writing it, I'm just going to pre-generate it. Purpose for sharing and meeting each other every week is to expand our awareness about ourselves, awareness about other people, the world around us, expand our awareness and perception so that we can create for ourselves and for other people things like happiness, health, peace. Okay, and we've gone over in this particular season, we've gone from the principles, natural laws, principle of light, principle of alignment with desire. We went over principles of the circle of knowledge. We applied the law of causality, which is cause and effect. Every effect has some cause. Effect is like the fruit that we get to reap. The causes are like the seed. The inner seed within human beings are our awareness and perception. If we can plant positive seeds of a positive awareness and perception about life, then we will reap the fruit of a positive, desirable outcome in life. Yeah. And at the same time, in between the seed and the fruit, there's the condition. Okay, you plant the seed in a condition that is favorable, then it will more likely, more readily, more simply bear fruit. And when it comes to human life and experience, the seed, the conditions are the affinity with other people. So we expand our awareness and perception, we improve our affinity with other people, and that makes it simple for us to reap the benefit of a good life. Okay. Hello, chị Hoa. Once again, very grateful for you guys.
Hello, anh Thanh.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys ready? Do you want to start today's lesson? Today's lesson is on trust. Okay, it is a materialization of wisdom. Let's kind of draw wisdom again. I'll just draw the reality triangle of wisdom. Okay. With wisdom, there is in the informational information corner, we have 5 levels of awareness. Okay. In the energy corner, we have the energy of serenity, magnanimity, and honoring gratitude. Okay. In the material or the materialization or the material expression of wisdom, we have simplicity, we have joy, we have trust, and we have lightness, or you may say ease. Okay. Last week we talked about simplicity and joy. Okay. If you want joy in your life, you got to simplify things. Okay. Simplicity brings joy. Today, we're going to talk about trust, and you will find that trust will bring lightness. And this is a materialization of wisdom. This is the physical manifestation or the material expression of a person of wisdom. So we can begin by thinking about anybody that we may consider to be a wise person. Right? Does a wise person simplify things, or do they create dramas in their life? Do they have joy? Is a wise person somebody we can trust? Why do we trust a wise person? We go to somebody we consider wise in order to ask for advice and gain wisdom. And once we achieve a certain degree of trust and wisdom, life can be pretty light. Right? So trust is today's topic. Okay. And that is a material manifestation of wisdom, and you will discover how wisdom brings about trust. So let's begin with, let's see this color. Nice, solid. These are the words that we have seen before. Let's make it prettier. Still practicing writing. Okay. In the middle, trust is a shorter word. Okay, trust. And along with trust, all of us have seen and heard of the word belief. Right? And along with trust and belief, there are words such as faith. So just kind of get a quick sort of consensus or understanding of where each person is in terms of their understanding of trust, belief, and faith. What do this word mean to you? What do you know about it so far? Are you able to interact? What to you is trust, belief, or faith? What do these words mean to you? What does it convey?
You trust when somebody tells you something that is true.
Trust, somebody tell you something that is true. Yeah.
And then you believe your belief that it is true.
You believe that it is true. Yeah, yeah.
And you also have faith that it's true by believing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
these words get thrown around. Okay. So these words get thrown around. We've all used them. We've all heard them. Okay. And have you ever heard of the saying, there will be miracles when you believe? There's a movie, The Prince of Egypt, and there's a song, there will be miracles when you believe. When something, right? When there will be miracles when you believe. Okay, so there's a focus on belief. Okay, not only that, our parents and other people, successful people, may have told us that if you persevere, you will definitely succeed. If you persevere, you will definitely succeed. Okay, that is a statement on trust and belief. Okay, so in our philosophy, trust is a material expression or the physical manifestation of wisdom. Okay, so in other words, it takes wisdom in order to trust. Okay, it takes wisdom in order to trust. So the question is, let me think. Let's see. So my question to you is trust something we have to learn, or do we human beings already have it innately as part of our nature? Is trust something that we have to learn, or are we innately trusting? Is it part of our human nature to be trusting? or is trust something that we have to learn? What do you think? What do you think, Ron? Do we have to learn to trust, or is it our innate nature to trust? Well,
We have to learn to trust.
yeah, we have to learn to trust. Okay. You think we have to learn to trust?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that we are human beings actually don't have to learn to trust. Human beings, we actually instinctively, innately trust.
The baby is coming.
It is part of our human nature.
Okay, put on this.
It is
Put
a
on.
part of our human
Okay,
nature
Mom, put
to
on
trust.
the what?
In
Ron
fact,
on off the.
Frank, I just got to bring my mom home, so I'll be listening.
okay. So it is human nature to trust. Okay. In fact, when we were baby, when we were born, we instinctively reach for our mother's breast in order to, get the milk and stay alive. We instinctively trust the person that hold us, the person that speak to us, the person that feed us. Okay. That's why in the Bible it says, if you want to go to heaven, be like children. Very trusting. Children are very trusting. I still remember this one instant. A friend of mine, a family member, brought their children to visit our family. And they had a child. The child went maybe 2 or 3 years old, and I'm still not very clear where we were going, but I know that I was crossing the street with the child, and as I was standing next to the child, this is another person's child. The child has never met me before, and we were about to cross the street, and I was basically telling the child to watch for the car before crossing the street. And what the child did was he instinctively just took my hand in his hand. He just placed his life in my hand as we were crossing the street. The child innately trusted me. He did not have to learn to trust. He just innately do it. Unfortunately, somehow as we grow up, we start to experience pain and suffering. We experience things that are undesirable, and then we start to question our reality. We become doubtful. We become less trusting. And so if we remember in the lesson in the human construct, one of the human nature has to do with belief. And a person who is trusting goes positive in the inner state when it comes to belief. A person who is doubtful, on the other hand, goes negative. Okay, and by the law of causality, if you have negativity as an inner state, then your external reality will also become negative. But if your inner state is positive, such as trusting, then it is going to be reflected in your outer external circumstances as desirable outcome. Okay, so can we trust a person who is wise? Yes, we generally can trust a person who is wise. On a negative sense, does someone who is doubtful, can somebody who is doubtful help us build trust? No. Some people who have a lot of pain and experience may become doubtful. They may become untrusting, and those people cannot help us become more trusting. They cannot help us experience a better life simply because they are doubtful. Okay. Can we call someone who has no trust, no belief, no faith to be someone who's wise? Think about it. Okay, so think about your friend, our family, our colleagues. Can we call anyone who has no trust, no faith, no belief to be somebody of wisdom? So generally, no, right? So wisdom and trust is associated one another, and trust is a positive aspect of belief. So let's take a look about trust between human beings and in the world. Right? Do you notice the level of trust that human beings are experiencing in the world today? Do we completely trust our spouses? Do we trust our children? Do our children trust us? Can we trust our employee? Can our employee trust the employer? Do we trust our government? It seems that in this climate of the world today, I think there need to be a little bit more trust. And if trust brings lightness, if trust brings peace and lightness and simplicity, and ultimately joy and happiness, would you say that it's worth discovering and exploring and learning about trust? Okay, so let's see if we can get a little deeper into trust. Okay, in other words, what would our life be like if there were more trust? What would our life be like if it was more simple, more joyful, more lighter to bear? Okay, so remember when we were little, we took our parents' hand, trustingly. We didn't really question. We just instinctively trusted our parent. We trusted somebody to take care of us, to protect us, to provide for us. But somehow, as we grew up, we lose some of that trust. And so naturally, our reality also reflect the loss of trust. We no longer experience lightness. We no longer experience simplicity. We even lose joy because we have lost sight of trust. So let's see if we can go back and find or understand a little bit deeper about trust, okay? So in order to trust or in order to believe, first, something has to happen. We have to think about something, right? We have to think about something before we can actually believe it or trust in it or have faith in it. All right, so before trust and belief comes into the picture, there is the initial or the part that comes first. It is the thinking or the imagination. Okay, it is the thinking or the imagination about something that comes before we trust it. Because trust and belief is like a judgment. We choose to trust or not to trust, but before that, we have to think about it. Somebody may say something or do something, or maybe we read a news or we see some images. That comes first. That is the mental images. Yeah, they come in the form of images. Okay, we could think in actual pictures or we could think in images. In short, we call it imagination. In a human construct, do you remember the discussion of human construct, right? Right outside of our true nature is the human nature, and right on the edge of that circle of light is the nature of reception. We have the nature of imagination, we have the nature of expression, and we have the nature of cognition. And so before belief, trust, and faith comes in, there is that imagination. Okay, desire and imagination being the focus of human nature. So let's take a look at imagination with respect to belief and trust. So consider the saying. Okay, consider the saying. Trust is belief in imagination. Belief in imagination. Okay, trust is basically belief in imagination. Now, when we imagine things, there are several scenarios that we imagine things in. if we imagine things about things that we have already experienced, right? This is past experience. That's called remembering, right? When we remember the past, things that happen, it is not the past that is happening. The past is already past. The past is already gone. That event is long gone. What we have, what we experience of the past is our imagination. Okay, take a moment to consider that one. Our experience of the past is not the actual event in the past, that's past. But our experience of the past is, for the most part, imagination. We may have images, we may have thoughts, we may even hear things that we associate with an experience that has taken place in the past. So essentially, it is our imagination that is at work when we remember or recall anything. Do you guys get that so far? It is our imagination that is at work when we are remembering the past. Now, when we are imagining the past, one or two possibilities take place. We could imagine it and associate with a negative inner state. A past experience may be unfavorable. We think about it, we imagine it, and we have a certain feelings of negativity about it. Maybe an aversion to it, maybe some resentment, some regret, maybe some anger, even some fear. All possible negative state could arise when we imagine a past experience. It could be negative. And of course, it could be positive. We can think about the past and we can experience some euphoria, right? We relive the moment. Maybe the first time we met that girl or that boy. Maybe the first time I don't know, some people remember the wedding day, some people remember the first trip. Many wonderful things that we could imagine that has taken place in the past, and it could take on a positive charge. Okay? So when we imagine the past experience, it could be positive or negative. Now, from the reference system called a human construct, and by applying the law of cause and effect, we already learned that whatever inner state that we accumulate when we think about an experience, remember our garden of subconscious, both the garden of subconscious as well as the operating principle of our conscious mind state that when we apply a positive or negative charge to our inner seed, our inner awareness and perception, then that seed will eventually grow and bear fruit in the same charge, same type. So when we charge a imagination of a past experience that is negative, and we continue to think of it negatively, eventually we're going to believe it negatively. And when we believe it negatively, guess what? Our reality is going to be negative. It's going to be undesirable. Think about that. Our choices in life, our outcome in life. Now if we use the reference system of the root cause of life, remember the root cause of life? Root cause of life reference says that the outcome of life that we have today is a consequence of the choices that we've made. The choices that we've made is a result of our belief. And our belief is made up of our mental images or our imagination. But if our imagination or our mental images is negative, those are going to form a negative belief. And then it'll lead us to making negative choices. And so we are going to arrive at outcome that is negative or undesirable, right? On the other hand, if we start to monitor our seeing and our hearing, we take control of what we say and what we know. We basically take control of our imagination. And instead of negative, we go positive. We pick and choose only the positive thing to think about. Then it will inform our belief, and our belief will be positive, and our experience in life will eventually become positive. And so that was the reference system of the root cause of life, remember? Okay. First, I talked about the reference system of the human construct, and then the root cause of life also deal with imagination and belief. And then we have the third reference system called the reality triangle. Remember that reality triangle says that all things in life has a material, physical manifestation. And that physical manifestation came about as a result of some energy and the information that is the source concept. And so what is the source concept of, or the seed within us, the good seed that we want, right? If we want to bear the good fruit of a good life, then we have to plant good seed. When it comes to the inner seed of a human being, our awareness and our perception, it is what we know, what we believe, what we understand. What we know, what we believe, and what we understand represent our source concept of something, represent our inner awareness, represent our reality of that concept. Right? For example, when we think about happiness, what do we know? What do we believe? What do we understand about happiness? It's going to represent our source concept of happiness, and that represents our reality of happiness. And so there's a belief in that, the formula. When thinking about finance, what do we know about finance? What do we believe about finance? What do we understand about finance? Represent our source concept of finance and represent our reality of finance. So if a person accumulate negative source concept and they believe negatively about finance, guess what? The reality of finance is going to be a negative. If a person accumulate negative source concept, negative belief about marriage, for example, then they're going to experience a negative belief and thereby a negative outcome of marriage. And so those are the three reference systems, all pointing to the idea that our imagination and our belief has this direction of positive and negative. If we allow the negativity to dominate, then our life, our external reality is going to reflect the internal awareness and perception. We also learn about wisdom, five levels of wisdom, with level 1 being the recognition between good and bad, true or false, should or should not, positive and negative. Well, we all have the awareness that things are good and bad, true or false, should or should not. But a person of wisdom will choose the positive over the negative. So a person of wisdom, instead of believing in a negative imagination, they will simply, when it comes to negativity, okay, we have an imagination, we image, we think about the past. When we think about the past and we feel negative, then a person of wisdom simply leave it as imagination. It's just imagination. But a person of wisdom, when they think about the past, any event, any occurrence, any people in the past, and they feel positive, then they allow themselves to hold on to that positivity, and they trust that that past is real, it's beneficial. You see how we can have just apply wisdom level 1 to past experience, right? Awareness level 1 is knowing good or bad, true or false, should or should not, positive or negative. Wisdom level 1 is choosing to hold on to the positive and being trusting in that imagination. It is just imagination because we're not living in the past. When we think about the past, we're just imagining it. It is our faculty of imagination is at work. But imagination, it has that positive and negativity because it is a human nature. And human nature fluctuates between positive and negative. But if we are not mastering, we are not owner of our own human nature, but we do not exercise mastery over our own imagination, then we let our imagination run our life. And if it is negative, then our life is going to be negative. But if we are a person of wisdom, we pick and choose. So we choose to believe in the positive and become trusting. But if it is negative, we just leave it. It's imagination. It's just my imagination. It just stays in the imaginary world. We don't let it become reality. We let the positive become reality. Right? We feed it with positivity, and that is called trust. We believe in it. Okay, so that has to do with the past experience. Okay. And fortunately, as a child, we already knew how to do it. All we have to do is bring ourselves back to that state of trusting. Okay. The state of being trusting or the state of being trustful, then ultimately we will enjoy life with ease and lightness. The Bible, okay, since a lot of us are in the Western part of the world are Christian, in the Christian Bible, there's a saying that if you want to enter the kingdom of God or the heaven, be like children, be trusting, be simple, be joyful, be at ease. Well, guess what? We have just described the materialization of wisdom in the form of trust, in the form of believing in our imagination. And we have just received the picture of what heaven or the kingdom of God may look like. Just be like children, be trusting. Okay? So let's see. The benefit of having trust. So not when it comes to trusting in people. So, you can think about the past and you have positive and negative. And we already established that if you maintain a positive inner state, which is trusting instead of doubting, okay, which is trusting, then we're going to experience a life of positivity, which will manifest in terms of ease and lightness and joy. But at the same time, when it comes to other people, when we think about other people, and if we have negative feelings for them, just leave it in the realm of imagination. I'm just imagining it, and it's negative, and I just leave it at this. We don't continue to charge it. But when we think about another person and we experience positive, feelings or inner state awareness about them, then we say, oh, I trust. I can trust. I can trust that person. And the beauty is that if we trust a person, guess what? We start to cultivate our affinity with that person. Right? In the formula for the causality, cause and effect, there is the inner seed, there is the condition with the affinity with other people. The positive inner seed for the positive inner awareness plus positive affinity with other people is going to bear fruit in terms of a positive and desirable outcome in life. All right, so a key in terms of, let's see, there is a key when it comes to people. One of the key to maintaining positive affinity with other people, okay? Positive affinity with other people is acknowledgement, and gratitude. Okay, acknowledgement and gratitude. So when we think about another person, or when we interact them, the sages have taught us that if we can hold on this key, if you have a chance to write it down, hold on this key of acknowledgement and gratitude, we will build positive affinity with other people. We build trust. Think about it. We look, when we interact with another person, we initiate the wisdom level 1. We pick and choose, and we only focus on the positive aspect of another person. We acknowledge it. We become grateful for it. We allow ourselves to be honored by it. We're grateful for it. And so we build our affinity with them. And imagine being grateful and acknowledging everybody you meet, then our affinity with many people would go up. And so eventually our life would get better. Okay? Affinity with other people can be cultivated by maintaining the key of acknowledgement and gratitude. And that is essentially trust. Because when we acknowledge people for the good that they do, then you can trust them to continue to do those good things that they do. A person may do 10 things, and 9 out of 10 things may be undesirable to us. We think of that, we feel bad. Well, if that's the case, then we just say, you know what, that's just part of my imagination, that's fine. Instead, we look for the one thing that we can acknowledge them for. On the one hand, if we know that they are good in something, that we can trust that person to do that good thing. A second thing, if we acknowledge, okay, let them know, let other people know what is good about them, then essentially we have built a stronger bond with another person through the key of acknowledgement and gratitude, and our trust for that other person go up. Our trust for us, between them and us, go up. They can trust us too. If we acknowledge another person, do you imagine that they will be very trusting toward us as well? Yeah. Think about children. If we acknowledge our children, show them gratitude for whatever it is that they do you think they will be trusting toward us when we acknowledge them? What about our employee? If we acknowledge our employee, show them our gratitude, would they be more trusting toward us? And if we allow ourselves to trust the employee to do their work, then we would not have to worry so much. And then our productivity would be, lighter and simpler. But most companies nowadays spend so much time and effort implementing policies and procedure in trying to manage employees' behavior and productivity. A lot of that comes from the lack of trust. Right? A lot of policies is implemented, human resources policies, workplace policy, all these things, safety, all of that, all of the rules and regulation inside of business, even in the world, in society, came out of the lack of trust that human being can actually be responsible and accountable. Kind of ironic, right? Yeah, all the law that comes out of it comes out of the lack of trust of human beings' ability to be responsible and accountable. But if we hold this key, if we acknowledge another person, if we are grateful for them, then we can trust that they will continue to do good what it is that we acknowledge them for. And over time, if we keep on proactively acknowledging and trusting, then they will be very responsible, very accountable. And so life for us would be pretty simple, pretty light. We don't have to worry so much. We don't have to carry the burden on our own. We can attract a lot of people, and a lot of people can help us carry a lot of burden. Yeah, so trust, especially in other people or in a past experience, is a positive direction of belief. Okay, positive direction of belief. Okay. The negative is true. You already know that. What happened to a person if they only acknowledge the negative things in the world? If they only acknowledge the negative things that other people do, negative things that they see and hear? Well, after a while, would that lead to things like doubt? Would it lead to fear? How about resentment and blame? Right? What about, all of us have met some friends who always bring us news about bad things. They'd say that, oh, you have to be careful of this and that because I'm trying to help you avoid the bad things. They think that they're helping us avoid the bad thing by telling us about all the bad things in life. But we already learned the principle of light. Avoiding the bad thing is the same as trying to remove the darkness from the room. If you can give me a list of all the bad things for me to avoid, I still don't know what the right thing to do. Right? So we can cut. So imagine living in a world or in the kind of life that include always fearing, always distrusting, and always disbelieving in everything and everyone. That's a pretty negative life. Okay, and that life is pretty bad. No wonder a person who has those fears, who have those worry, who have those resentment and blame, their life is pretty undesirable. Their health is not optimal. The relationship is not harmonious, and the finance is probably not secure either. Why? Because they have allowed themselves to believe in the imagination about the negative things in life. Okay, so we are people of wisdom. Once we learn wisdom, if anything that comes to us and we judge that as negative, then we say, oh, that's just imagination. I just leave it in imagination. I don't need to believe it. I don't need to trust in it. And by maintaining trust in the positive thing and minimizing imagination and contact with negative thing through the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, and the will to know, then our life would become more positive over time. Okay, and that is the point that I want to drive home when it comes to believing in imagination. There's a positive and negative direction. The positive direction is trust. The negative direction, just leave it. Okay. And if we drop the key of acknowledgement and gratitude, remember what happened when acknowledgement and gratitude is the key is dropped? What happened to the light of our honoring gratitude? It gets covered up by taking for granted. Taking for granted is this negative energy or the wind or the curtain that covers up the light of honoring gratitude. And when the light of honoring gratitude disappear, then the darkness of resentment and blame will appear in our life. Right? When darkness of resentment and blame appear in our life, then we're going to attract a lot of negativity, a lot of undesirable circumstances and people in life. And so holding on to the key of acknowledgement and gratitude, acknowledging other people, being grateful for them, always maintaining the sense of being touched and moved by the things that other people do, by the things that we have, always recognizing the importance of people and the significance of people and the usefulness of things, maintaining the light of honoring gratitude, acknowledging other people, then guess what? That is the energy of wisdom. Okay, we learned about wisdom. Where's that wisdom slide? The energy of wisdom. Okay, the energy of wisdom is honoring gratitude. We had a whole interaction about honoring gratitude, how to prevent what is that? The resentment and blame, how to prevent taking for granted. And the energy of wisdom is also the candle of attitudes in our house of holistic health. right? Maintaining the energy of gratitude, light up the positive candle of attitude in our house of holistic health. Okay? And that has to do with the wisdom to maintain trust. Trust in things that are positive and just leave the negative thing to imagination and we don't even bother with it. Okay. Thank you, our new friend, for joining our Zoom. I am honored by your presence, and I would appreciate your participation. If you find it convenient, go ahead and turn on the camera and turn on the Zoom to say hello or share anything, okay? All right. So we talked about believing in imagination when it comes to thinking or imagining the past. There's a comment, right? So somebody would say, but I trust my friend. I gave my friend a loan, some loan of money, but I trust my friend to pay the loan back, but they have not paid the money. So what's wrong with that picture? If I trust my friend to pay back the loan and they don't pay the money back, can I trust them anymore? Well, the answer is you haven't really trusted. because if the friend not paying back is the material manifestation, that is the reality, then the seed of it is the lack of trust. You haven't really trusted your friend. Because if we truly trusted our friend to pay back, then they will pay back. They may not do it today, but eventually they'll pay back if our trust in our friend is for them to pay back. Did you get that point? If we don't trust our friend and they don't pay back, yeah, that's because we don't trust it. And in fact, belief has only a 100% either or. It is never a case where I partly believe in something. When you say I want to do a certain project, right? I want to accomplish something, and parent or our friend or our children say, I don't believe you can do it. Or I partly believe you can do it. No, it's actually the case that they believe you cannot do it. Belief is always 100%. It is always the belief that you can do it or the belief that you cannot do it. Okay? In the Bible, there's a saying, if your belief is as big as a mustard seed is a tiny little seed that you can even barely see, like a sesame seed or something like that. Very, very tiny seed. If your belief is as big as the mustard seed, you can move mountains. Well, guess what? Human beings have moved mountains. Okay, and that would lead us to the next part of our imagination. It is imagining things that are not yet experienced. Okay, things that are not yet experienced, essentially the future. So when we think about the future, we have certain mental images. It could be pictures, it could be words, but those are mental images. When it comes to thinking about future, and if we think about the future or imagine the future, and the future is negative, we as people of wisdom leave it to the imagination. It's just my imagination. Because in order to protect ourselves, and our future, we need to maintain positive inner state. Okay? If our present circumstance is negative, that is because we have some negative imagination about the past. If we want our future to be positive, we had better imagine the future to be positive as well. Because by the law of causality, our inner seed will bear outer seed in terms of life experience. If our inner seed is negative imagination about something, then our outer seed, when we finally experience that, is also going to be negative. So just look at other people who think about the future and worry. They worry about the health. They worry about the state of the world. They worry about the finance, the relationship. Well, guess what? Eventually, their reality will reflect exactly that worry. That is the power of believing in your imagination. Yeah, the power of belief in your imagination. On the other hand, since we have studied wisdom, we know that if we believe in the positive experience, then we're going to get the positive experience. So when it comes to thinking about the future, and we're imagining positive outcome in the future, what we're actually doing is we're using wisdom level 2. Remember, wisdom level 2? Root cause of life begins with me. And you create mental images about what it is that we want. So when we're imagining something about the future, and it takes on a positive charge, we simply call it projection. Okay? So when it comes to the future or things that we do not yet experience, if it is negative, just leave it to imagination. Okay, it's just my imagination that I'm thinking about things and it, feel not so good. But if it feels good, then you can start to believe in it. You can start to project it into the future. And by the root cause of life formula, the clearer your mental image about your projection, your images about the future, the clearer the image, the more the likelihood of your reality. Okay, the clearer the image, the clearer the source concept, and combining that with the human concept, when you are vibrationally matched with that mental image, that positive mental image, then your reality is going to be as you project it. Once we have the projection, once we have the positive mental images, when we have the energy that is positive and balanced, we have the source concept, then we can begin to plan for it. You can begin to plan for the future. You believe it, you make it real, you trust in the future, and eventually we call it faith. Okay? Faith is believing in the future. And that is why the Bible says if your faith is big enough, you can move mountain. Well, guess what? Have human beings be able to move mountain? How? How have human beings be able to move mountain? Well, somebody had to have the projection. Somebody had to have a mental image of the ability to move mountain. And then they plan for it. And then they execute it. And now we can move mountain. Back in the day when Jesus Christ was preaching, they didn't have dynamite. So they did not, it took a long time to move mountain. But now they have dynamite. That we have construction vehicles. We have bulldozer. Right? We can literally move mountains in order to build city, in order to build bridges and road. We have been able to grow an island in the middle of the ocean. Okay, we can move the mountain into the ocean. Why? Because somebody had projected it, has mental images. They came up with a clear source concept of how to go about doing it, and they were able to complete it. That's why it's called project. To work on a project, right? To work on a project is to realize somebody's projection. To work on a project or to have a project is to work on, to realize somebody's projection about an experience, a reality that is not yet arrived yet. But in order to do that, they have to have faith. Otherwise, they would not have begun to work on a project in the first place. Do you see the power of belief in imagination? When there will be miracles when you believe. Okay, there will be miracles when you believe. And belief in imagination has a direction. There's a negative direction and a positive direction. Faith is about believing in the projection of the future. What if, okay, on a negative sense, what if you imagine the future that is negative? If you imagine a future that is negative and our mental images is very clear, our source concept is also very clear. We plan for it, we work toward it. Guess what? That is going to be our negative reality as well. But we don't call that trust. We don't call that faith, do we? A person who is negative about the future, we just call them a pessimist. So what about prophets or prophecies? There's an idea of there is the idea of the fulfill with I, feeling to I, to L, self-fulfilling prophecy. A lot of people are fascinated by prophets. Right? Prophets are people who somehow claim to have opened part of their level 5 awareness and wisdom. They somehow can peek into the future. They can see the future of what's going on, what's going to happen, things that have not yet experienced that they will happen. If a prophet tells you about a prophecy that is negative, and we believe it, we plan for it, we try to execute it, guess what? We're going to experience it. But if a prophet promises of a future that is good, we expect it, we plan for it, we prepare for it, and eventually that prophecy will come true as well. So prophets by themselves are neither good or bad, unless the message, the prophecy they are telling you is either going to hurt you or help you. So if we encounter a prophet and he's prophesying all this negative thing, the world is going to end, and there's going to be war, there's going to be famine, all these bad things, and we don't want it to take place, right? If we don't want it to take place, don't believe in it. Okay? In fact, the more people that believe in a prophecy, the more likely it will take place. Because of the second key. Okay, so now we're talking about the future. Okay, now we're talking about projecting in the future. In order to protect our presence, we, in our affinity with other people, we build trust by acknowledging and being grateful for the things that are positive in our life. In order to create a future that is positive, not yet experienced, but still positive, and in order to maintain faith in ourselves and our in the picture that we project, the second key is apoptelling. Okay, appertelling. Appertelling is the act of repeatedly acknowledging, when it comes to the present and the past, appertelling is the act of repeatedly acknowledging the blessing and the favors that other people have done for us, or the circumstances, or whatever. Okay, appreciate and tell. Okay, give value to something that had happened to us. There's an energy of honor and gratitude in appertelling. But for things that has not yet experienced, things in the future, in order to bring about that future, we can also initiate appertelling. We keep on repeating the positive image with the positive energy of trust and faith in that positive image, and other people will begin to pick up on our energy as well, to pick up on our mental images. And when enough people believing in it, it will take place. It will become a reality. So our master had been appertelling the idea of having 10,000 with mentor for, I don't know, 10 years now. He talked about having 10,000 mentor every time he shares the knowledge on the inner world, the knowledge of peace and health. And do you see that reality becoming a reality today? Right? Many of you have become part of the 10,000 mentor with. The master has been appertelling about the idea of the training facilities for the master and the mentors, for the entrepreneurs and the business leaders. The organization WIT began with no money, but by appertelling, he repeatedly shared the image and the picture with the energy of faith and trust that it will take place. Then at some point, enough people will believe in it. They will contribute to building that reality. And now WIT has 3 training facilities. So what about if we want to do any kind of, project for ourselves, right? Some of you here may be interested in running a charitable organization. You may have a mission that you want to implement. Well, you want to make sure that you hold on to the key of appertelling, as well as the key of acknowledgement and gratitude. By telling other people with the energy of with faith and trust, then you will cause other people to eventually resonate with your vibrational energy frequency. You will cause other people to imprint the same pictures that you have. And whatever source concept that you have when it comes to projecting that positive future that you want, when other people resonate with that, when they know your source concept, then necessarily it has to come true. All because we can project. All because our imagination has a positive and negative direction. And we choose, using wisdom, we choose to have faith in the positive. Here's my computer out of battery. Okay. All right. Okay. Past experience, we use level 1 wisdom to maintain trust in our imagination. Future experience, not yet experienced, we use level 2 awareness and wisdom. We create an image. And that image, if it is positive, we trust it. We have faith in it. It will come true if we initiate appertelling. So Yeah, when it comes to profits, if profits uh, prophesize a positive future, maintain faith in it, tell it, help that profit build our future, tell it to other people, be grateful for it, work toward it, plan for it. But when profit tells you of a future that is undesirable, we say that's just his imagination. Okay, I don't care. I don't want to know about it. Okay. Let's see. So, okay. So when it comes to trust, right? I think we just mentioned earlier, when we trust people, then we can allow them to take responsibility, especially in the home, for instance. If we trust our children to do household chore, then they can take up some of the burden and alleviate our own burden on household chore. In the business, if we trust people, if we trust our employee to take responsibility and be accountable for themselves, then it takes off some of the burden on the managers and the supervisors and the leader. And therefore, trust would lead to a sense of lightness in life, right? And then at the same time, trust, lightness. Okay, so let's move on to lightness. Just right here. So we finished trust. Anybody have any question about trust? Just write the word here. Trust is belief in imagination. Okay. The benefit of trust brings lightness. It brings a life of desirable outcome. It brings positive affinity with other people, which will help us bring positive outcome in life as well. Okay. Trust in the future, faith in the future. Faith in our projection will guarantee that the future come true. Never mind the negative. Okay, we will minimize the negative. We do not want to magnify the negative. We only bring light into our world. That is a principle. This is a principle of light at work. Anything that is positive, we magnify it, make it big. Anything that is negative, we ignore it. We just work on the light, and eventually, negativity will go away. Okay. Anybody have a chance to share anything? Okay, a lot of quiet audience today. So trust brings lightness. So that is one way that it'll bring lightness. When we trust other people, they take on responsibility. We don't have to do it all on our own. Okay, it lightens our burden. And as a result, if it lightens our burden, then we can do more things. Okay, we can be more effective in getting things done when we trust in other people. And then when it comes to lightness, there is the energy of magnanimity will also help with lightness. And magnanimity is the ability to hold people in our presence. It is the energy of emptiness in the human nature, part of our inner being. When we are detached, okay, the energy of magnanimity is being detached from the thing that is going on inside our mind. It has to do with knowing when to pick up an identity and when to let go. It has to do with when to move forward and when to return to the present. Being able to flexibly rotate among wanting, desiring, and letting go. Desiring and letting go. To be and not to be. To be and not to be. When things feel too difficult, you just let it go. And when we have the energy that is positive and balanced, we take up our desire and we project and we plan and we work toward it again. we temporarily initiate the energy of emptiness so that we can experience lightness when things become too heavy. We don't have to drop all of our projects and ideas and desire, but in order to protect ourselves, to maintain balance and lightness, we simply know when to let go. So we can practice letting go when it becomes a little too heavy. And then when we are balanced and positive again, we pick it up. Whatever project, whatever ideas, whatever desire that we initiate, whatever sense of identity that we want to become, we can always initiate the moving forward when our energy is balanced and positive, and then we let go when it becomes a little too heavy. And that is how we can maintain lightness in our life. It's just like carrying a burden, right? We're carrying a heavy backpack. If we have a lot of energy, okay, pick it up and carry it and go, 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 go. But when it starts to get heavy, you let it go. You stop and let it go. You rest. That is on a physical level. But on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level, same thing. We have certain desire, we have certain aspiration, certain projection and project, certain imagination. When we have a lot of energy, pick it up and go. But the moment we feel a little heavy, little light, you let it go. We drop it, stop it, seize it, and release it. Drop, stop, seize, and release. And that is a one-word meditation. That is a practice that enables us to experience lightness. It requires wisdom to do that. Level 1, level 2, and level 3 wisdom, which is true emptiness of being. Did you guys get that? We learned about level 3 wisdom, emptiness of being, serenity. The energy of serenity helps us experience a life of lightness and ease. And that is why when we look at people that we consider wise, they have a sense of lightness to it. Okay? Life seems to be, they have a certain ease. Not necessarily easy, not easy. Don't try to think of things that easy, because when you think of easy, it's simple to, it's very easy to become arrogant. When we become arrogant, then we go negative, and then things will not be easy. But to maintain lightness, a certain sense of ease, knowing when to let go, when to pick things up, when to move forward, when to come back, when to be and when not to be. Okay. All right, that's all I have for today in the terms of trust, belief, faith, and the closing of the materialization of wisdom. Did you make it back home in time, Ron?
I just got home. I just got in the door.
Were you able to hear any of the sharing?
Yes, I did. I was listening.
What are some of your what are some of your lesson insights and realization?
I really like the thing where you believe that something's going to happen, whether it's positive or negative. That's what's going to happen.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you believe something that's going to happen is positive, then positivity is going to be there. Your outcome is going to be positive.
Yeah. That is why the wisest sages will never prophesize negative things. Because if they prophesize negative things and they foretell it and enough people believe in it, it's going to happen. Right? So there are prophets out there who claim to be, to have insight into the future, and they paint all kinds of negativity. Those people, just leave it to the imagination.
Yeah.
Okay, leave it to the movies. Go watch those movies. But the people who project positive reality in the future, oh, okay, let's work with those people. Okay,
Yeah.
project it, plan it, work for it, prepare for it, make it a reality. Because that is the reality we want. Yeah.
Yes. And it's also what we believe too, like what we believe and what we, if we look at our own lives as in a positive way, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I like. Yeah.
Trust is believing in our imagination, but it is a positive direction to believing. Believing in negativity is not trust. It's something else.
Yeah.
Okay? And it is not wisdom. A person
No.
who cultivates doubt and fear and resentment is not considered a person of wisdom. That's not what we want. That does not bring about the life of desirable outcome. So we focus on the positive, which is trust. Trust is believing in the positive imagination of the human nature. And faith is believing in the positive projection of the future. Okay, alrighty. The next week, I think next week we'll have a chance to talk about character, which is our the next candle in the house of holistic health. So I'm very happy to be able to talk about the materialization of wisdom. I did not get to do that in a previous episode season, but yeah, very honored by for the opportunity to be able to share the materialization of wisdom. I took the material from the Vietnamese sharing on the inner world, K36 and K37. So our master is projecting a very nice and positive future, and that is what we are doing. We are realizing that future by sharing with other people. And congratulations for being accepted into the Mentor 7 program. Okay, always grateful for your presence and honored by your participation.
Yes, and I thank you, Frank, and I appreciate you sharing. And the gratitude I have towards you for sharing it in English is great for me. It really helps me. Thank you.
The Vietnamese word for belief. The Vietnamese word for belief is if you want to learn a little bit of Vietnamese, the Vietnamese word for belief or trust, has two words. Vietnamese, is monosyllabic, so oftentimes we have to use two words together. It has two words. This word is belief, and this word is imagination. Just so you know, this is trust.
And you say that tin tuong?
Tin tưởng, yeah, tin tưởng.
Tin tuong.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Okay.
great.
Okay. All right.
Thank
I
you,
will
Frank.
see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. I'm gonna return.
Yes, you will see us tomorrow morning.
Resume. Okay.
Yeah.
I project, and I have faith that in August I will be able to swim 4 kilometers in the ocean.
Oh, great.
And it seems that Ji Hua will get to row on her do the back row for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's yeah, that is the image that the organizer have painted, the picture they have painted, and the destination that they were going to reach that. Okay, it is a physically challenging and physically well picture health. So that'll be fun.
Yeah. So you'll be there in August as well in Vietnam?
In August, yeah, 2 weeks before you guys.
Oh, wow.
I'll leave before a few days before you guys come.
Oh, so you won't be there when we're there?
Yeah, I leave on the 24th, I think, and you say you come on the 26th, right? Something like that.
No, we'll be there we're leaving on the 10th, 11th.
Okay.
So we'll be in Vietnam, but I'm not sure. You're going to Phu Quoc right away?
I'm going to Ho Chi Minh on the 11th of August. I'm gonna be in Ho Chi Minh the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the 15th.
Well, maybe we'll be on the same flight. We're going on the 11th.
Really?
Yes.
You're flying to Ho Chi Minh on the 11th?
On the 11th of August.
Oh, then we can definitely hang out for
Yes.
the 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and then I don't fly out to Phu Quoc until the 16th, and then I'll be back to leave you know, basically on the last day, I think the 24th.
Oh, that's great.
23rd or 24th.
We can meet up rather than on
And then,
Zoom.
yeah, I will be staying, I think the 12, 13, 14 or something like that. I will be staying at the Wit home. Okay. So,
Okay.
see if we can get together. That's all. That's awesome. We get to meet. Okay.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll be on the same flight, like I say.
Okay.
August 11th, we take our flight.
So I'm leaving here on the 9th and I arrive almost midnight the 11th.
Oh,
So really,
okay.
it'll be the 12th that I will be officially, you know, interacting with people.
Yeah,
So you come,
actually, I forgot. You're in the States, you'll be on a different flight anyway, but
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But which day are you landing in? Which day are you actually landing in Ho Chi Minh City?
The 12th.
The 12th. Okay,
Or-
you're landing
oh,
on the 12th evening or day or night.
I'd have to check my itinerary. I
Okay.
can't remember. I booked it quite a while
So we
ago.
can definitely hang out the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I plan to visit Tâm Y Dung, trying to get my shoulder, you know, worked on and whatever
That's
amenities they have.
that's
The
kind
Wit
of why I
home,
missed.
yeah, the Wit home I stay at. Hopefully there will be a lot of masters and mentors there that we can hang out with. Do dinner, do lunch, do breakfast there. Try to meet as
Yeah.
many people as we can.
Yes. That's kind of why I
Cool.
missed IBT the other morning. I got bit in the fingers by a spider and it affected my
Ouch.
shoulder and my arm.
Oh gosh.
So I
Oh
couldn't
wow.
miss anything.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Alrighty.
yeah, okay. Well, you have a good night, Frank, and I will
You take care.
tomorrow morning.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.